You can't just ignore the HOA rules. This deed doesn't mean anything here. You can't just ignore the rules. This is a community with standards.
Chapter 1. Roots in the Prairie. The autumn sun hung low over the Colorado prairie, casting long shadows across the gravel driveway that Jake Riverside had laid with his own hands nearly 2 decades ago. It was a crisp September morning in 2025, the kind where the air carried the faint scent of pine from the distant mountains, and the earth still held the warmth of summer. Jake, a sturdy man in his early 60s with calloused hands and a salt and pepper beard, stood in his worn flannel shirt, cradling a steaming mug of black coffee. His rescue dog, Voltage, a wiry mutt with a penchant for chasing shadows, lounged at his feet, ears perked up at the distant hum of construction equipment. Jake's off-grid cabin, nestled on 2.3 acres of raw land he'd owned since 1987, was more than just a home. It was a testament to a life built from scratch. Solar panels gleamed on the south-facing roof, powering everything from the workshop's array of tools to the modest interior lights. Vegetable gardens sprawled out back, heavy with the last harvest of tomatoes and kale, a legacy of self-sufficiency that had sustained him and his late wife. Sarah, through lean years, the metal garage door, dented from years of use, stood sentinel over his domain, echoing with the memories of evenings spent on the porch, watching the wind ripple through the prairie grass. That peaceful routine shattered when a white BMW SUV crunched up the driveway, its tires kicking up dust like an unwelcome intruder. Out stepped Karen Whitmore, a woman in her late 40s, clad in designer yoga pants that screamed urban, transplant her blonde, hair perfectly coiffed despite the rural setting. Flanking her were 2 lackeys, nervous men in polo shirts, clipboards in hand, looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. Karen's face was a mask of feigned politeness, but her eyes burned with the fervor of a crusader. In her manicured hand she clutched a thick envelope, the kind that spelled trouble. "Mr. Riverside?" She called out, her voice shrill and echoing off the metal garage door, cutting through the morning calm like a buzzsaw. The smell of fresh asphalt from the nearby road construction wafted over, a reminder of the encroaching suburbia that had invaded his valley. "I'm Karen Whitmore, president of the Meadowbrook Estates Homeowners Association. We've received complaints about your property's impact on our community's standards." Jake set down his coffee, his brow furrowing. He'd heard whispers about this. Joe, some fancy development that had sprung up around his land, like weeds in a garden, but his property predated it all. The deed in his pocket, yellowed with age, proved it. "Ma'am, I think there's been a mistake. My land's been here since 87. Your association wasn't even around until..." At 19, Karen thrust the envelope forward, undeterred. "This is a formal notice of violation. Your solar panels, workshop, and general unkempt appearance are diminishing adjacent property values by an estimated $50,000 per unit. You'll owe $3,950 in compliance fees, retroactive to the date of our incorporation. Pay within 30 days or we'll escalate to liens and fines." Jake took the papers, his fingers brushing the crisp legal documents. The wind rustled them mockingly, as if the prairie itself was laughing at the absurdity. He pulled out his original deed, holding it up like a shield. "Look here, this shows explicit exemption. County records, surveys, it's all documented. I'm not part of your HOA." She barely glanced at it, her oversized sunglasses perched on her nose like a barrier. "Legal loopholes won't protect you forever. Mr. Riverside, this is about community standards and property values. We've invested heavily in this neighborhood. 800,000 homes, manicured lawns, artificial ponds. Your eyesore is ruining it." The lackeys shifted uncomfortably, one muttering about just following orders. Karen's perfume, an aggressive floral assault, clashed with the natural scents around them. Jake kept his voice level, a habit Sarah had instilled in him during her cancer treatments, calm in the storm. "Ma'am, this land was empty prairie when I bought it. Your development built around me. I'm not joining your club now." Her smile turned icy, Arctic wind in human form. "We'll see about that." She strode back to her BMW, heels clicking on the gravel like gunfire, leaving Jake standing there, deed in one hand, bogus bill in the other. Voltage growled softly, sensing the tension. As the car peeled away, Jake felt a knot in his stomach. This wasn't just a bill. It was a declaration of war. To understand how it came to this, one had to go back to 1987. Jake was a 25-year-old electrician fresh from union work in Denver, with dreams bigger than his bank account. He'd scraped together every penny. $47,000 from savings, overtime, and a small inheritance from his parents. The 2.3 acres in rural Colorado seemed like paradise. Vast, open prairie under endless skies, bordered by a county road that saw more deer than cars. "This is it, Sarah," he'd said to his fiancée, then a budding botanist with a laugh that could light up the darkest night. "Our forever home." They married that summer, and over the next 15 years, they transformed the raw land into a haven. Jake wired the off-grid cabin himself, installing solar panels as renewable energy tech emerged. Sarah designed the gardens, teaching him about companion planting and composting. The workshop became his sanctuary, filled with projects, wind turbines, battery banks, even a small hydro setup from a nearby stream. Evenings on the porch were sacred, sipping tea, listening to the wind whisper through the grass, planning additions like a greenhouse or guest cabin. "We'll grow old here, Jake," Sarah would say, her hand in his. "Just us and the land." But life had other plans. 2 years ago, cancer stole her away. Jake buried her under the old oak by the garden, her favorite spot. The cabin felt emptier, the winds lonelier. Voltage, adopted from a shelter right after, became his companion. Named after Jake's trade, a spark of life in the grief. He kept building, kept gardening, honoring Sarah's memory. The property thrived, solar output powering tools, gardens yielding. Enough to share with neighbors, back when there were neighbors who appreciated it. Then 5 years ago, change slithered in. A California developer, eyeing the valley's mountain views, plowed under the prairie for Meadowbrook Estates. 400 luxury homes rose like monoliths, complete with gated entries, artificial ponds stocked with koi, and lawns manicured to golf course perfection. Residents paid top dollar, up to $800,000 for the illusion of rustic elegance. But Jake's land? It was specifically excluded. County records showed it. The original surveyor drove stakes with exempt flags around his boundaries. Photos, permits, a paper trail from 35 years back. The developer, Tom Morrison, had even sent a letter confirming it. "Your parcel remains independent," it read. No bother to Jake. He liked his solitude. Enter Karen Whitmore. She arrived 2 years ago from Orange County, California, right as Jake mourned Sarah, 47. Sharp as a tack but entitled to the core. She was a real estate agent turned HOA president. Her husband owned dental practices, funding their 3 kids' private school tuitions and her spotless white BMW, which shunned dirt roads like the plague. Karen measured grass with rulers, filed complaints over garbage cans lingering 47 minutes past pickup. Her perfume could fell a buzzard. Her smile hit a dictator's heart. Their first encounter seemed harmless. A sweet wave from her driveway, then a knock at his door. "Hi, I'm Karen from the Homeowners Association." "Just a neighborhood survey on property improvements." Jake, polite as always, chatted briefly about solar tech. 3 days later, she returned with the covenant. "Compliance committee." Those 2 polo-shirted hostages. Her heels clicked like machine gun fire on the gravel. "These solar panels diminish values by $50,000 per unit," she declared, binder in hand. "Comply in 30 days or face 100 daily fines." Jake showed the deed. She dismissed it. "Loopholes won't last." As she left, the gravel crunch sounded like a ticking clock. Jake knew trouble was brewing. The next morning confirmed it. Waking to voices, he found 3 HOA contractors on his fence line, measuring and photographing. "What are you doing?" he demanded. "Karen sent us for violations." Violations on pre-existing land. This wasn't petty. It was power play. Karen, the transplant who'd never heard no, had met her match in a stubborn widower. 2 weeks later, war declared via mailbox. A county complaint on zoning, laughable, as his ag zoning stood firm. Then an HOA letter demanding $500 monthly dues, retroactive to 2019, 2000, for non-membership. A petition claimed his workshop endangered safety. Exploding batteries, noise pollution. Karen's Facebook post sealed it, photos twisting his organized space into chaos. 63 neighbors demanding action. Betrayal soured his coffee as he scrolled. Time to troubleshoot like old circuits. Jake dove into records, learning property law. Karen's secret, 2 real estate violations for boundary misrepresentation. Her husband's $127,000. Back taxes explained the desperation. Union days recalled liability. HOA policy excluded non-members. FOIA request jackpot. Incorporation flaw. His parcel. Omitted due to boilerplate error. Zero authority. He installed cameras, night vision, motion alerts. Caught her safety patrol trespassing, photographing windows. Irony, the accuser committing crimes. Research revealed her doc's fatal flaw. Newspaper got screenshots indeed. Rural resident fights HOA overreach front paged. Karen demanded retraction, threatening ads. Editor published her rant beside supportive letters. Power shifted. Mrs. Henderson arrived with cookies, sharing harassment stories. More neighbors followed, veteran with truck. Teacher with garden, retiree with brown fence. Karen's terror united them. Porch chats on solar, gardens, community bloomed. Karen assumed isolation. Instead, rallying point. Her response, lawsuit via Peton and Associates. Nuisance claims, $35,000 damages, remove structures. Smell of legal paper with coffee. Safety patrols documented. County complaint on workshop, 1992 permitted, grandfathered. Union buddy Mike connected retired lawyer Frank Lucas. Sloppy work, Frank chuckled. Permits valid. Countersuit for harassment, defamation. HOA owned nothing, common areas not transferred. Cameras subpoenaed, trespassing, privacy invasion. Newspaper, HOA president caught trespassing. Forum exploded. Supervisor Williams backed Jake. Developer Tom Morrison called, confirmed exclusion, faxed maps. Frank filed dismissal, fees for frivolous suit. Lawyers quieted. Chapter 2, The Tide Turns. Karen's desperation escalated like a storm building over the mountains. 3 days post-newspaper. Process server delivered the lawsuit. 27 pages of gibberish, demanding demolition and damages. Jake read it over coffee, the scent of expensive paper clashing with his brew. Her safety patrol, housewives with clipboards, drove by twice daily, photographing relentlessly. Then the county building complaint, unpermitted workshop, ignoring 1992 docs. Frank's analysis, grandfathered under state law. Offensive strike, countersuit. Discovery, HOA incorporation botched, common areas untransferred. Cameras provided punch, trespassing footage. Newspaper splashed it. Forum divided, but Jake's side grew, tired of tyranny. Williams, if Karen thinks she can Californicate our county? Pressure mounted. Clients questioned her. 3 residents shared stories. Not alone. Morrison's docs, ironclad exclusion. Frank motioned dismissal, fees. Lawyers withdrew. Irreconcilable differences. Karen lashed out. $15,000. Emergency assessment for hazards. Liens threatened. Jake laughed at audacity. Then Detective Martinez called. Karen's false report of assault in parking lot. Footage cleared him. Warned her of felony. Boycott. Targeted businesses supporting. Jake. Hardware owner, Bob. Jake's. 30 years? You're 2 minutes. Utilities complaint. Off-grid ignored. Support swelled. Retired judge pro bono. Assessor confirmed no authority. Reddit viral. Activists offered aid. Real estate commission investigated license. Husband's taxes public. Board questioned. Patricia resigned over tactics. Emergency meeting 47 attended. Karen ranted. Half walked. Facebook banned her for harassment. Journalist Rebecca Torres interviewed on HOA abuse. Porch reflection. Invincible Karen now isolated. Sarah's words. Bullies defeat themselves. Judge Crenshaw's call. Bombshell. Federal records. Unresolved Arapaho. Treaty claims from 1878. Meadowbrook on clouded land. Jake's excluded deliberately. Lawyers billed $45,000 knowing futility. Financials. $230,000 fees misused. $85,000 to Karen's firm. Assessments funded personal bills. Board investments conflicted. Forged signatures 3 from non-residents. AG investigating HOA fraud statewide. Karen's motive, failing business, debts. Lawyers withdrew ethically. Board emergency, removal looming. Media, corruption expose. Jake's value rose. Agents called for sales. Workshop as mission control. Team assembled. Crenshaw's expertise. Rebecca's records. Marcus Littlefeather on treaties. Mike upgraded security, facial recognition. Strategy, dismiss claims, counter for prosecution. Civil rights, sovereignty and validation. Rebecca's forensics. $127,000 diverted. Vacations, tuition taxes. Shell companies, fake invoices, FBI interest. Evidence organized. Timelines, videos, briefs. Crowdfund, $75,000 week 1. Coffee sessions at diner, organizing. Toolkit viral. Databases crashed. Security Fort Knox, presentation flowcharts, photos. Crenshaw. Hate crimes via targeting vulnerable. Evening and workshop, Sarah's presence. Tomorrow counterattack. Karen hired PI. Caught trespassing, mail theft. Charges for both. Bribery attempt on inspector, $5,000 for condemnation. Hidden camera caught. DA notified. Protest, 7 sign holders versus 43 counter-protesters. News disaster for her. Ethics complaint on Frank, dismissed, her investigated. Patient's key, document, no rage. Media, national, cable news. Interview lies exposed. Karen lies trended. Crowdfund, $150,000. License suspended. Board resigned. Insurance canceled. Divorce forged signatures. Moving trucks, values crashed. Porch, from isolated to movement center. Almost pity. Karen's gambits, mental health petition, paranoid, weapons. Psychologist, stable, resilient. Weaponized services, EPA complaint. Hazard false. Inspector praised sustainability. Eminent domain laughed out. No authority. Sheriff, false extremism report. Felony warning. Psych report, her paranoid. EPA complaint filed. County abuse probe. Evidence package, 847 pages. Sovereignty. Deeds questionable. Support. Banners. Vigils. Honors. Workshops. Board removed her. Foreclosure. Divorce evidence. Conspiracy. Rebecca Series awarded. Legislation. 12 states. Jake's Law in Colorado. Workshop evening. Certainty. Justice prevails. Chapter 3. Justice served. Courthouse buzzed. Packed courtroom, polish scent. Justice metallic. Karen late, age, trembling. Jake calm, binders ready. Judge Morrison, no nonsense. Her lawyer stammered jurisdiction. No proof Frank. Deed, maps, footage. Forensics, 312,000 embezzled. Forgeries. Marcus, treaties. Karen interrupted ranting. Warren silent. Bribery, reports, meltdown. Ruling, no standing dissolution. Prosecution referral. $127,000 to Jake. Cheers. Escorted out screaming. News viral. Landmark victory. Porch, Sarah's presence. 6 months later, 18 months prison for Karen. Embezzlement, fraud. $427,000 restitution. Lost all. Voluntary association. Gardens preserve. Cover story off-grid model. Fund scholarships. 12 wins. Jake's Law penalties. YouTube 300,000 subs. Learning Center, kids laughter. Festival 4,000, funds clinics. Common areas, wildlife haven. Karen, retail anonymity. Transformation, grief to community heart. Cookies upgrades book. Sounds, learning, planting, gathering. Porch, grandchildren play. Grasped wisdom. Voltage famous. Visitors, veteran, family, fight continues. Drop nightmares. Subscribe. Thanks for watching HOA Meltdown. Like, comment, subscribe.